Okay, so now the screen has come up for the Bloomberg end of day, historical end of day. So what you do first is to select what company you want. Well, we want Walmart. So I'll click on that one, and you can just hit the enter key, and you'll notice that it comes over to the selected companies. I'll just start with Walmart. I can bring other competitors in, and I'll show you how to do that. If you want to bring more companies in at this point, you can, but I'm just going to do one, so I get one company set up just like I want them, then I can bring other companies in. Then just click on the next button. Well, the second button, the second screen, is what data do you want? Well, I want to bring in their total revenue, so I'll type the word revenue in there, and I'll try to find a total revenue number. I don't see it yet. You just have to look. So let me try my search a little better. I'll actually put the word total in front of it, so it says total revenue, and I'll try that. See what comes in. There it is. It's called Sales Revenue Turn. Now that's a strange title, but what I can do, if I go back over to Bloomberg and click on Income Statement, when that loads, you'll notice that the first line is revenue. If I click on that, you can see that the mnemonic is Sales Rev Turn, and that's what I'm looking for. So since I'm looking for that number, you can see how that gives me the title. I'm going to use that again. So Sales Rev Turn is what I want. So I add that one, and that comes over there. Let's say I also want gross margin. So I type that in and hit enter, and look for gross margin. And there's gross margin. Let me look over here. So gross profit, there's gross profit and gross margin. So you can see there's different titles that I can use. So you may have to look and see if that's the exact same thing, exact one that you want. But I'm going to stick with gross margin for right now. I might want cost of goods sold. So I'll do cost of goods sold and hit enter. And that looks like cost of revenues looks good. I come over here and just check it and make sure. Income statement, cost of goods sold to FE and P. And let's see, that looks like that's the same thing over here. At this point, if you pull the wrong account, it's not a big deal because we can change it after we bring the data in. So at this point, just bring in everything you think you need. I'm going to stick with these three just so I can get it started. But if you need more, you can add more. You can add pretty much anything that's in this financial analysis on any of the sheets. Let me show you one that's kind of interesting, is the additional information. Sometimes some of the best information is on that additional one. And so here, let's see. I want their revenue per square foot. So it's sales per retail square footage. Let me try looking for that one. Sales per retail square foot. And that looks like it, that very first one. So I'm going to add that. So I've got 4 items now. So the first screen, we picked the company we wanted. On the second screen, we're now picking which accounts we want. So let's go to the next screen. In the next screen, we'll pick the time period we want. Well, since I'm putting in financial data, if you bring in financial data, it needs to either be yearly or quarterly, because that's when companies report. If we're bringing in things like price to earnings ratio or prices, that can be daily. I'm going to bring in yearly. And then down here, you have your starting date. A lot of times on a start date, I'll actually, over the year, just type 1950, so to go back as far as it can go. Over here, you can leave the date that's there, or you can type current. If you type current, what that means is every time you load the file, if there's more current information, it's going to bring it in. So I'm going to click on the current button, then I'll click on next, and pretty much you just click next again, and next again. You don't need these 2 screens. And then the last one, the only thing you need in this last one is how you want the data to go across or to go down the page. I prefer it to go down the page, vertical, so that the year is across the top. So I'm going to click on that, and then you just click on the Finish button, and you'll see all the data start loading in. I'm going to click the far right up here, and double click on the columns so that the column widths are a little bit better. You can see I get some NAs just because the data is not available for those years. As we go across, you'll see If you go across, more data is available. Now, on gross margin is percent. That's 25%. I didn't want gross margin as percent. I wanted the dollars, so that must be gross profit. So we'll go back over here where it says gross margin, but we'll go back to the income statement on Bloomberg, and I'll click income statement. And say, well, this is what I wanted, gross profit. It's actually, the mnemonic is gross profit. So if I go back to Excel, right now I have it typed gross margin. So I'm just going to retype that to say gross underscore profit and hit enter, and it will update all of that data. You can't tell that it's updating it, but it is because I have some NAs. Now, your data really starts being available in 1999, and it's kind of hit and miss on the last one. So if you want to, you can change the starting date. You'll notice that the most important cell in all of this is cell B2. And if you look at B2, you'll see a formula in there. That formula is anchoring to A1, which tells you which company you want. A1 tells you that it's Walmart. It also says A3 through A6, but that's telling you what accounts to bring in. And then it says 12/16/1950. That's your start date. You can change that start date if you want to. So what I recommend that you do is in that cell, change the A1, hit your F4 function, so you get rid of those anchors on the A, because we're going to want to copy this. Same thing with this one. We're going to get rid of the anchors there, get rid of the anchors here, so that it just says all of it, A1, A3, A3, so none of those are anchored. And now I'm going to change my 1950 to say 1986. And then when I hit enter, it updates it. Notice that updated it. And now what I can do is I can actually select all of that, and I can right click and copy it, and then I can copy it one row below where Walmart is and hit enter. And now if I want to change that to another company, I just edit it and change the ticker. Instead of it being WMT, I'll change it to Target, TGT, and hit enter. And now all of this data, instead of being Walmart, is now Target. So that is how you bring in the data. Now, one thing you want to do at this point, if you take this spreadsheet to your machine at home, it's not going to work because it's not going to understand these functions. So what I usually do at this point is I click it up here and I do a copy, and I go to another sheet, and then I right click and do paste special, and I paste values. And you might want to right click and paste special again and do formats as well, so you get the dates in the right format. Now if you go home to work with this file, you have everything you need, but you can also work with this file at home because you have it as data instead of as a formula for Bloomberg. So this should get you all the data that you need. And remember, if you see anything on FA, if you want to add that to your analysis, as long as you insert a row on the Bloomberg page where you have all your Bloomberg data, as long as you insert a row in this range, because remember this formula is saying everything between A3 and A6. If you insert a row in A4, you can add any account number over here and bring it in. Let me just show you one. Let's insert a row here. And let's go back over to FA, and let's say I want net income. So I click on net income, and they say that's just net underscore income. So come back over here, and I just type net, whoops, try it again, net underscore income, and hit enter. And you see now I have that data. So just the same thing, you would copy it and paste it as values on another sheet once you bring something in. What I recommend is you stick with one company and get all of the data that you want on that one company, exactly like you want it, and then do what we did in B2 and take the dollar signs out of the cell references so that you can copy it down. Once you get one company set up, then you can copy it down, and then you can copy it as many times as you want and just change the tickers so you have other companies. So that's how you pull data into Excel. Hope that helps.